Good morning. It is Wednesday, April 1st, if you can believe it. We are into Q2, the 90 days out from June 30th. And the DTD2 this week, you're calling your Ys and your Zs, and you're texting your Fs. Calling your Ys and your Zs and texting your Fs. The schedule today, a little different. Always on the first Wednesday of the month, and ironically, it is the first day of the month and also the first Wednesday of the month. Do things a little bit differently. I'm sure you've noticed we are going to move up Maine to 9 o'clock. We're going to move up beautiful downtown New Hampshire to 10 o'clock. And then we have the Luxury Mastermind with Brady Sondal, who is the director of luxury for all of Keller Williams. That is a conversation with him. He is going to be leading his deep thoughts, and that's at 11 o'clock. So you can join that at Portsmouth. You can be here for that in person, just like the contracts classes per usual. And then here's the one caveat. There is a mastermind after Brady finishes right around 12-ish. There's going to be an in-house Portsmouth-only mastermind with the Adam Dow, who is our regional ambassador for luxury. So if you want to be part of that, which I would argue is absolutely worth every penny, I would scoot this way to be here for that for 11 o'clock. Obviously, you've got to make your own decisions on where your face is going to be for the day. If you're licensed in Maine, 9 o'clock, we're less than a half an hour away from that conversation. And then, of course, 10 o'clock with New Hampshire. So all of that, as always, contracts is always going to be available in person or online. And you can do that at kellertv.com. And that starts at 9. Again, today, because it's the first Wednesday of the month, this is the new schedule. We go Maine at 9, New Hampshire at 10, and then the Luxury Mastermind conversation with Brady Sondal, who is the director of luxury for all of KW. I think people see KWRI and they're like, oh, Rhode Island. No, Realty International. So that's what that looks like. And the in-person mastermind following that with Adam Dow is just that, in person. So you need to be here for that conversation, and that takes place right around 12, whenever Brady wraps up. And it's worth your money. Now, here's what people need to consider. What I would like you to think about. I think people see the luxury training mastermind or the luxury mastermind, and they're like, people may have felt this way. Well, I'm not doing luxury. First of all, luxury in our region is $750,000. So that's like a driveway in Portsmouth right now. So most of you are teasing in that space. Additionally, even if you don't ever want to necessarily get into or have a niche in luxury, the importance of this training with Brady Sondal is mindset. The importance of this training with Brady Sondal is really client service, right? You'll hear him say time and time again, one of his favorite things to say as he addresses everybody is ladies and gentlemen. You'll hear him say that all the time, which is fantastic because it's always fascinating when you go to a top tier event and someone's up on stage and they're like, you guys, like, and that's his effort to avoid that, obviously. You will hear him say, ladies and gentlemen. Above and beyond that, he will always talk about surprising and delighting. Like, how do we level up what we're doing for our clients? And you can do that at any level. Your first client and they're buying their first house. Why would you not want it to be a phenomenal experience? We talked about this at the New England Regional Mastermind. And we talked about this, obviously, at Family Reunion when Will Guidara was on stage. It's all about touch points and the opportunity for all of those touch points, like all of the things that your client engages in while they're engaged with you, when they're talking to a member of your team. Maybe it's your listing manager is getting a hold of the Lindsays to let them know that the stager is coming over today at 10. They're going to be done by noon. And then the photographer is coming in to get some good lighting and some golden hour lighting for the photography. Like all those kind of things, those are touch points. What is the conversation with your listing manager and your client? How does that go? Are you training to your standard throughout the entire process? Right? Because leadership exists when we leave the room. So what happens when you're not around? Are the people on your team carrying your standard? And that's a lot of what gets discussed. Like, how are we behaving? How are we assisting in our teammates? And whether you have a team or not, you still have to think this way. Like, okay, when I go on vacation, I'm a solo artist and I have this person and this person, they cover my business. Well, I trust you're finding people that are like-minded. And this isn't about right or wrong or people doing things, incorrectly. This is about just how people carry themselves, the language people, and I don't mean swearing because I love a good F-bomb, but like obviously not with your clients, but you know what I mean? Like the language you're using. Do they carry the same standard that you do? So I want you to consider when you look at the 11 o'clock training for luxury with Brady Sondal, followed by the mastermind with our dear friend Adam Dow. Don't look at that and be like, well, I'm not doing luxury. That's not a conversation for me. I would argue, even if you feel overwhelmed, that if you feel overwhelmed, good, you're in the right place. If you don't feel overwhelmed, we are doing something wrong. And I don't mean overwhelmed that you can't get out of your own way. Just like, I don't know if that conversation feels like it's above my head. Well, then get in the room and sit up straight. Because if you're the smartest person at your table, you should change tables. And events like the 11 o'clock mastermind for luxury with Brady Sondal today is a smarter table. It's a conversation that will elevate the way you think about the touch points from consumer, from unmet to met, to consumer, to client, to someone who's an ambassador for your business. Notice how I didn't say client for life, because nobody's a client for life. You can think they are, but as soon as the ink is dry and the deal's over, they could be anybody's client or consumer. And yet, how do we take some of the training we may gather today from Brady Sondal and we polish those touch points every little step along the way? How is the experience? Are we making it experiential or are we allowing it to be transactional? And that's where Brady's head is at. That's the conversation you're going to experience today. And then to put a bow on it and to have other agents in the room with Adam leading the conversation and to have some local conversation around the luxury experience or an elevated experience or polished touch points, I think is well worth your while. We do not have too many. If you consider our average price point, which I mean, right now for our market center, we're hovering around $540. If you consider the average price point, why would that person? Because obviously, wherever your clients are buying, and consider this, wherever your clients are buying, because of the market and where we're at, they're most likely shopping very perilously close to the top of their budget. Not everyone, but consider, think of your last 5 clients. Most of them are going to need to use everything that their debt to income ratio, everything that they're willing to combine salaries, they're doing one salary, however they're doing it. They're going to be throwing all of their loose shekels at the property. That for them should abso-thousand-lutely, new word, it'll be on a quiz later. That should be a surprise and delight, elevated experience where when they talk to their friends about the process, they don't necessarily remember the mechanics of it or the functionary parts of it, but they remember how you made them feel. Maya Angelou, people will rarely remember what you said. They'll remember how you made them feel. Making it experiential is the process. That's today. So Wednesdays are always contracts. The first Wednesday today is going to be contracts for Maine at 9, New Hampshire at 10, the luxury training with Brady Sondal at 11, and put a bow on it with Adam Dow right afterwards. At 12 o'clock today, you want to jump into the conversation with me? We're doing Midday Protocol. You've got an opportunity to jump into Fight Club at 9 o'clock if you want to do that. That's where we do our lead gen. At 12 o'clock, we're just checking in. How did your morning go? How did your last 24 hours go? And Based on that, let's just talk about your 3 lead indicators. What are you doing for conversations and interactions? How are you doing for appointments set to sit with buyers, sellers, and investors and bring them into your world and sign them? Allow them to employ you. And then, of course, the 3rd lead indicator is how many agreements do you have signed? Signed buyers, signed sellers, signed investors, and above and beyond that, what do you have for purchase and sales under contract? That's a true test of, are we doing the right thing, the next right thing? Because some of the granular stuff feels like it's not catching, but you have to understand the compounding interest of you continuing to show up for the people in the area that you intend to serve, where you want to be mayor. How did you show up yesterday? What can you do to show up 1% better today? And what kind of questions are you asking? You'll hear Brady Sondell say that. That was the first time I ever heard that. We were at a mastermind in California, and Brady Sondell said, your life will be commensurate with the quality and quantity of questions you ask. So how curious do you stay? And how far are you willing to peel the onion to find out more about the people that you're willing to serve? Join us today for all that. Wednesday is a big meat on the bone day. Today's a fantastic day. If you can be here in Portsmouth, I'd invite you to do that. The energy in the building is building day by day. We've got Bold back in the building. We have Breakthrough starting on Monday, April 13th. The listing count is starting to climb. And it's because you're willing to do the next right thing. So at the very least, if you're only licensed in New Hampshire, be here by 10. Hang out for the luxury conversation. If we can help with anything, please let us know. If I can help, lean in. It is 603-834-2856. You can also book my face at meetwithcoach.com.